Empower 11, the best of its kind in a highly transformative time. Are you empowered? Ready to turn your life up to 11? Awaken the life of who you are on the inside to match the life you were meant to live on the outside. Empower 11. Now is your time.
Power 11 Radio. Greetings and welcome to Empower 11 Radio. This is the live 1-hour show that we bring to you every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, coming to you from Santa Barbara County in beautiful California, USA. I am Jack Voorhees, and I am sitting next to my co-host, the beautiful, talented, my life partner, the girl that makes me bite my bottom lip, Ann Ribley.
Well, hello there, Jack Voorhees. It's great to be doing the show with you. You're such a warm, compassionate, brilliant business person who has so many gifts to give to the world. I'm happy to be doing this show with you. We've been in here warming up for some time. Last week our show was on finding your voice. And you were doing some vocal warm-ups this morning before the show, and I was wondering if laughing counts because you were making me laugh so much.
So you are either listening to us live on Spreaker, which is a platform that we come to you on. You can get the free app for your iPhone or your Android phone on that is available out there. You can go to Spreaker.com and check that out. Or you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes immediately after our show. It is uploaded to iTunes where you can subscribe and listen at your leisure. You can also now listen to Empower 11 on the front page of our website. I just hooked up a little doodaddy there to allow you to do that. So, and for more information, you can check out empower11.com. A lot of good stuff there. And make sure to go to facebook.com/empower11 and hit like to keep up on all of our empowered stuff that's going on. And today we have a show titled, Do You Have a Powerful Life Vision?
Yeah, that's why I was like last week talking about finding your voice is so important to moving into knowing what is a powerful life vision for yourself, because they go hand in hand. So last week's show, for those of you that haven't listened to it, be sure to check it out, because it goes into speaking to that place inside of us where our powerful life visions are born.
And also make sure to check out one of our past episodes called I believe it's called Visions versus Goals. And that is we got a lot of good feedback from that show, and there's a lot of powerful tools that you can implement into your life that are really effective, and not in so much in, I mean, they're effective in the long term, but also there's immediate results that I've experienced from the tools that we shared in that program.
So today, just the beginning part of getting into do you have a powerful life vision is just understanding the difference between visions and goals, and that visions are the real breathing energy of life, where goals can be much more fixed and don't have that same fluid flexibility like visions do. I mean, it's one of the old adage out of the Bible that those without vision shall perish. It's such a fundamental core area in order for us to energize our life. And in Power 11, getting into the Empower 11 visions is really about taking who you are on the inside, those visions, those real visions that are close to your heart, close to your soul, of who you came here to be, and getting your outside in match and congruence with it.
It's coming from a place of real truth. You know, a lot of times goals can be set for some kind of heady kind of thing. I mean, you often hear about setting goals and how important it is to set goals, but the visions are much more important than the goals. I don't know how many times I've set a goal and achieved my goal and not got the feelings that I thought that I would get when I got there. And it felt empty. And that was because it wasn't a place of true fulfillment. It was just like some kind of challenge that I set, and yeah, I achieved the challenge, and now what's next? I got to set another challenge, or you know, it's not just a place of a living, breathing entity. It's this cold, hard place, and goals can often, you know, they're fixed, they're rigid, and they don't allow for the flexibility that a vision would allow you.
Well, I think the most important aspect of a goal is they may not be meant for us. And we may think that's what we want, but there's a bigger life path and journey and destiny that is contained inside of us. It's no different than the acorn that is the tree that can become the forest. It's already blueprinted with that perfect unfoldment. And visions are a way in order to get in alignment with that blueprint, and where we have the flexibility to unfold and not be attached to fixed outside events, people, situation, time frames. I think time frames are a big attachment and expectation that can really undermine people's ability to be in congruence, to expand their vision of who they're meant to be.
Yeah, I think that when we're on this powerful life vision and you know that ties into our purpose, that is a journey, and you know a lot of times we can try to force or manufacture things to happen in our lives that we may not be ready for.
Yeah, so a powerful life vision, in order to know how do you have one and how to really develop and cultivate this deep within you, it's starting to eliminate what it isn't. And it's not goal setting. It's not symptom treating in your life where, oh, this is missing and I need this now to add to my life in a way in order to fill a hole in you. Its visions really are more in that wholeness of who you are, and it becomes an expansion and a congruence, and that's really what turning your life up to 11 is, where it actually has the ability to create resonance in the world around you, and it expands and it becomes much easier.
Yes, we can breathe into it, and we can allow and flow into it versus this place of trying to force and make it happen, and you know, like looking for all these ways and means to make something happen instead of just allowing yourself to experience the journey and go with it. I mean, there's things that I wanted in my life, you know, that I really thought that, you know, like if I had this, then I would be happy, content, whatever. It would help me to get to some place. If I had this in my life, then, you know, but the thing is, later, I found after the course of my journey has transpired a little bit that I'm like, thank God I didn't get that. That would have sent me down a road that wouldn't be in alignment with my purpose. You know, like, thank God that one business that I was in didn't take off, because I would be not in a place that I want to be right now.
Yeah, you could be confined to a situation that's not what's meant for your greater destiny. And powerful life visions are that really good place that we get into, that it becomes in alignment. It's like the tuning fork. That's what the Empower 11 is about. It's about when you get into that right place within yourself, it starts to create resonance with the world around you, those around you, and it doesn't have this confining, fixated box in order for you to stay in, for it to work. You know, you were talking. When we were talking earlier about this, we talked about it's not a symptom treating type of activity.
A lot of times, like, goals will be set to try to, just do some kind of quick fix or some kind of Band-Aid or something like that. But it isn't in the place of the truth of where we are. And a lot of times those things are set on other people's, like we've taken on other people's visions or other people's agendas, and they're not in the truth of who we are. They're not authentic to us.
Well, it's interesting. I was at a workshop lecture that was somebody else's, and so it wasn't mine, and I was just more there as I was invited to be there to more observe. And I was watching this group facilitate somebody, and they were trying to help her develop a big why to her powerful vision of why she was going to do something in a business situation. And they were having her build that energy in her of why she wanted to do this. And what she said is I want this because I want to get out of debt. And the group that was facilitating it, helped her, anchor in, that's a strong why, and was helping her try to build the energy around it. And I had to just sit back because it wasn't my thing and it wasn't being asked of me. And knowing that would become a fragmented, broken energy because it's not based in truth. It's more situational. It's trying to get out of a hole. It's trying to symptom treat. It's not a holistic place that a powerful life vision truly comes from. And when it comes from that true place, it has its own natural, expanding, organic energy that it takes on. This is that exponential energy that Empower 11 is about, which it's not 1 + 1 = 2, it becomes 11. And I was watching this and I was thinking, wow, the people that are facilitating this don't really realize the depth of what they're asking her to do in order for this to really have impact and stick, because it was still symptom treating in her life.
Have you ever, remember back to one of those times when you've gotten into this place where you really felt good, that you maybe didn't have all the answers why it felt so good, but you were just in a good place. You woke up, you felt really good today, and everything went really well today. Well, that isn't a place of trying to force something to happen. It's not a place of this determination that you're going to make this happen today and you don't care what. It was a place where you got into this beautiful synchronicity in your life and things started to flow. Now, the thing is that everybody has experienced things like that, but then getting there and staying there are two different places. And I got to say, Anne, that I don't believe that you can stay there all the time. I believe that life is like air travel. Orville and Wilbur Wright, they figured out that air travel was unstable, so they put rudders onto their planes. So they have the tools. So they're in constant state of correction. And that's a thing that when we're on purpose, it is easier to flow into that just natural state of correction, like the bird that flies.
Yeah. I think one of the most powerful transforming orientations that I gave to myself when I was in a time of change and I really wanted to develop that powerful life vision. And I'm going to share this right now so that you who are listening, if you could just grab a hold of this one thing, it's powerful enough to really develop a powerful life vision. And that was, I was in a time where I really wanted a lot of situational things to be different. And I looked around in my life, and what I looked at, what I saw, it was everything that wasn't working the way I wanted it to be working, and everything that was in my life became a reminder to me of what wasn't working. And so what I did is I just had this epiphany one day that what if I was an alien dropped into this life at this time, at this place, and I knew no history whatsoever?
But you're not really an alien, right?
No.
Tell me I didn't fall in love with an alien.
No, but this is really powerful, Jack, because what happened is I looked at my life and I said, okay, here's my starting point. And I say this to you, if you looked at your life right now and this was your starting point, and whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, or whatever job or career you're in, or whatever your bank account says, or whatever house you live in, whatever children you have, whatever relationships you have, these are all your starting points. This is your starting point. If you woke up today and you said, okay, here's how I make my money, here's how much money I have in my account, here's what, as if this is the first time you've been told, here's, as if you're playing the game now, here's the rules that you have, here's the person that you're in a relationship with, here's the kids that you have, here's the home that you live in. I think we would look at all these configurations in our life with a deeper sense of gratitude and awe, and we would say, wow, okay, this is where I start. This is everything I have to work with. And we have no history whatsoever. We just only have this starting point of today. I think we would live in a place of possibility. We would look at our home and we would go, wow, I'd make this better. I'd make this better. We'd look at our relationships and go, oh, this is a really interesting person. I think I wanted we would expand that place of a bigger vision inside of ourselves. And I look at, like, even for myself, if this was the body I was born in, or this was the body I was starting with that was hurt in an accident because I was run over by a lawnmower and this is what I had, I would be looking at the possibility of what am I going to do to make this work the best for me. I would know no history that, wow, this was a bum deal. I would know none of that. I would be coming from the place of, this is what I have to work with. And how can I make the best of this? And I would begin to find a vision. And I did that for myself. I began to look around at everything in my life and I said, okay, here's where my starting point is. And it really shifted things for me because I began to see a vision in my life for what is right now. I think so much of us, we push out our vision because we're not accepting the terms of life today and what is in order to build a real vision from.
Well, I think that's a great tool for self-examination. Whenever you can step back and look at things from a different perspective, in the big picture aspect of life, what you're doing, why you're doing it, does this make sense? These are gifts. These are, just being able to look at things from a different aspect, and that we did this exercise in the show that I think it was called, it was just a couple shows ago, called Becoming Your Own Life Coach.
Yeah.
And, what kind of advice, if you weren't you, what kind of and you were looking from the outside, what kind of advice would you give you? And, sometimes that's a really powerful tool. Other times, that can be kind of hard to take your own advice. Just to review, so this, powerful life vision from the Empower 11 stance, it comes from a trusted place within you. This place of deep trust, of a knowing, right? And it in ways it can be beyond our comprehension. Sometimes it's just, we just have this, we don't know how everything's all going to play out. We don't have to have every answer. We don't have to know how the engine works and the electrical system works in our car in order to get in and drive the car. We just know that this is a place of truth within us, and we are going to operate from that place, the place of congruency. And it's a place of non-compromise. It's a place of, like we talked about, not treating the symptom. It's to the core values of who you are, and it's a place that's spiritually correct. I believe if it's spiritually correct, it's not only going to benefit you, it's going to benefit everyone around you. It'll benefit the world. I often say, when we drive by a cemetery plot, what if everybody would have followed their purpose? What if everybody in there would have lived a life that was in total purpose of who they are, instead of just signing up for maybe somebody else's, agenda, just getting a job in this industry because, it pays, or there's a market for this. And I believe that the world would be a different place. And it's also a place of ownership, in owning this vision. This is my vision. It's not somebody else's, and it may not line up with others, and others may say I'm crazy, that nobody's ever gonna purchase one of those new devices that you carry around with you so you can talk to people, these mobile phones. Why would I ever want to own one? Because I don't even like to answer the phone at home. Those things are never going to take off.
Well, Jack, you got to tell people that, so they know that was one of your things, that when you got into the wireless industry, people thought
I was nuts.
They didn't see that vision.
Yeah.
And you saw a vision that it was going to take off. That was just sort of an inner knowing you had.
Right. So, there's real power in sometimes following your own inner knowing.
I like the idea, too, to realize that when something is a vision, you don't have to use all this energy to manufacture it, to fill that hole or to make something right in your life, because visions are more of what's true to us, what's true in our hearts.
Yeah, and they're fluid. And so the fluidity has a great deal of power, like water.
Well, it's really, visions is where our real power is, with manifesting and creating and attracting and getting into rapport and resonance with the life that we want. And then what we're doing is we're actually pulling, because life is supporting to us, more of that which is supportive to us versus having to push and force so hard towards something.
So much like water, it chooses a path of least resistance. I mean, it's the most powerful force on the planet, and it always chooses a path of ease and flow. I mean, it'll just flow on by. You ever try to stop water? I mean, water, man. I mean, it comes in. I've experienced water damage in my homes and stuff. I mean, I know that water is such an amazing force, and this ease and flow place that we can get into with our vision can allow ourselves to have that mighty force with, at the same time, being in this place of ease and flow.
Well, water, you can't even contain water unless you really slow it down to such a solid vibration where it's frozen. And so you can think about this in our own lives, that the more fixated and heavy, like the way to contain something, the less it has that ability to be fluid. And so water, when you speed up its frequency, I mean, you move all the way to steam. I mean, that's when you can move a locomotive. I mean, it's like the power of it, because even just water in its natural liquid state is hard to contain. I mean, try to hold it all in your hand. It's only easier to hold in your hand when you've slowed down the energy so much that it's now frozen. And think about this in our own lives. The more we can move to this higher vibration, like the symbol of water, where it is fluid, it's flexible, it's not contained, then it has the ability to work that magic, that unspeakable grace in our lives, where our visions get into a natural, conspiring, supportive place to who we are. That's where the real power is. And that the difference between being really fixated and contained, like what a goal can be, gets involved in all these attachments where the suffering sits, and that brings the vibration to a lower state.
So understand that you're made up of mostly water. So, move into your natural state is moving into your powerful life vision. That is your most powerful state. The uniqueness of who you are and why you're here and what you can do, these gifts that you were born with, these gifts that you develop, these jewels that you have, that you shine up and you present this beauty of the world for all to see. I mean, that's your place of real power.
I think about in my life, when I really started moving into that, what happened when it wasn't like, and I do believe this with powerful life visions, it's not like it's a ding, 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 and there it is. I think it's a progression. The more you get into the truth of who you are, I think your vision starts to paint itself, expand itself, it becomes true. And I made a shift. I made a shift to get into this really truthful place with myself. And getting into this place in all the aspirations that I had in my heart, and I began making life changes, my visions became stronger. This radio show was part of a powerful life vision I had. And to be a part of a conversation and hosting this conversation, the greater conversation in our lives. And it's really interesting because that desire to do a radio show is part of these magical, unimaginable steps where life just conspires in our favor to bring us the life that's meant for us from our powerful life vision. So I sign up with this, Hay House event to learn more about, possibly getting into being a radio show host. And I come back and I was working on this project with my brother, and he connects me up with this guy in Michigan to start working on building out some of our internet and website development.
This really kind of cold business guy, not very warm and fuzzy.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Say It Like It Is.
Yeah.
It was, so it's interesting. I was in that place of just following my powerful life vision, and then I connect up with this guy who I thought by no means did I think when we first started working together was there anything there. It was just a business relationship. I know myself. And so following that powerful life vision, the magic of when life begins to conspire in the unspeakable, unknowable ways, God has a bigger vision for us. Source, the universal life presence, has a bigger vision for us when we surrender to that powerful life vision that wants to be birthed out of us. So I did this event about becoming a radio show host. It was so strong in me. I felt it in me. I went and did this event, and even to lead up to it, there was a lot of miraculous things that happened in order for me to even do that, the tuition for it and stuff, because at that time in my life, I was reconfiguring things with my kids. Well, anyway, I come to start working with you, Jack, and we're working on this project together. I did not think at all, starting out, that this was going to be a love relationship.
Nor did I.
And at that time, as I was working on just staying true to my life vision, my purpose, being the best that I could be, being the best of what life was asking of me today, being in that vision of my life, what would happen to me during that time, I would say to myself, whenever I would think about a relationship, because I was going through my divorce, and that had been several years in the process, is I kept thinking, love will come to my home. Love will come to my home. I didn't think about how's this whole relationship going to work out in my next phase of my life. But as I was working on this radio show hosting thing, what happened is we start working on this project together, and then something magical happened where you and I, like something divine started to take place. And then next thing you know, what opened up where I thought was my main focus was going to be on developing this radio show, the way that down the track that I was going. And then all of a sudden we start working together, and then there's this whole bigger vision that unfolded, which is love did come to my home. And
it stayed.
Yes. But this is one of the most, miraculous gifts that I've seen with the power of a powerful life vision. And then now, fast forward through time, it was meant to be a project that you and I were working on. So I was getting the steps all along the way to support my powerful life vision. And it was like, you can't plan it to be so divine and perfect from a goal standpoint as you can of a surrendering to this greater power and life conspiring in our favor and our dreams being pulled to us.
Yeah, I understand about visions and how that how we attach the power is attaching to the feeling, the vibrational frequency of being in that vision. It may not come to us in the forms that we necessarily think that they're going to come. And, I think that that's a little bit of the issue with The Secret. Many of us have read The Secret, watched the movie The Secret, and I think there's a lot of power in that because, it really talks about
the law of attraction.
Yeah, and visions and everything. But I think that when people attach so much to the shiny object, that
or certain outcomes or certain situations.
Yeah, and they don't allow the fluidity of their visions to really transpire. When it's too fixed, it becomes more like goal oriented. I want the red Ferrari convertible, and instead of that, I want to feel that freedom, that wind in my hair, that the smell of the air, the beauty, driving down the coast, what have you. But those experiences may present themselves in a different form, and when we're more fluid and less fixed, we can achieve those things faster and appreciate them for what they really are. And I had I had a vision, and I thought I was coming out this way, and I didn't have all the answers, but I was in Michigan, and I knew, the beginning of 2010, I knew that a major change was necessary in my life. And that, and I could see that it was coming, and I was going to embrace it and allow it. And whatever happened in, whatever details, whatever things had to shift in my life for that to transpire, I became okay with. I became less resistant, more fluid, and open to allow these things happen. I knew that I was going to be out this way. And
on the West Coast, you're saying?
Yeah, I even pictured California area. I knew that, I was going to leave the relationships that weren't in vibrational harmony to who I am. That I was going to, allow them to leave. I wasn't going to, I bared them no ill will. I'm just going to move forward in my own vision, and being open to that. More and more of these possibilities and this magic of life conspiring in my favor started to happen, and a piece of this is that I had to be unafraid to allow myself to go on the journey.
I think that is a lot of what people experience. It's the fear of the unknown that keeps them paralyzed from expanding out into the greater vision of what their life is calling them to be.
Right, and then if they keep everything in the known and they keep everything in this little box, and then their life, they're so bored and so unfulfilled, but then, but I'm afraid to move out. It's what? Embrace it. Yeah, I was at a meeting a week or two ago, and I was at a recovery meeting, a 12-step meeting. And everybody was talking about, change, oh, woe is me with change. And I'm like, man, embrace change. You're not happy where you're at? Embrace change, because change can allow wonderful things into our lives.
Well, I remember you telling me about that event that happened, and you said change is going to happen because it's part of life. Yeah. And you can either have change thrusted upon you, or you can surrender to it. Yeah, and get in the driver's seat of it.
Get more in the driver's seat of it, and you can facilitate your change in a place that lines up with you and your purpose
and your life vision.
Right. Or you can live in a place that isn't in the truth of who you are, and change is going to happen anyway, but most likely the change is not going to be a change that you are inspiring to have in your life.
Well, I know that the happiest I got in my life was when I started getting congruent with my life's vision. And in that, I also had to surrender to a lot more unknowns. And surrendering to those unknowns is when the miraculous gifts started coming forward. Is the more I got congruent with my life vision, the more I got happier, and also the more I had to embrace the ability to be at peace with the unknown.
You know, understand that we're not saying you can just sit on your butt and just, I'm just going to allow myself to think all this wonderful things in my life and whatever. And, there's still the act of showing up. And showing up is, it's crucial. If you disconnect from your life, you don't do what your life is asking of you, then the change that comes is not going to be the change that we necessarily want into our lives. Yes, good things can happen to us even when we're not doing great things, but also the change can more easily happen in some other direction that isn't a part of our powerful life vision.
Well, I do believe that we can get into a place where our results, our congruency, the progression that we're in are unfolding and evolving in not such a haphazardly fragmented state where some days it's good, some days it doesn't feel so good, that it is more of a congruency and a tone that builds upon itself in a way that doesn't feel so chaotic with its results in our life. And
tell me about you talk about the why. The more you know your why, the more you know your how. So how does that present itself? How did that present itself in your life? How do you think it presents itself in our lives?
Well, I think that if people don't know their why they have the powerful life vision that they have, and why are they doing everything today of why you're doing it. If you don't know your why, it's very ambiguous to know your how. So the stronger you know your why, in whatever capacity, with why are you creating financial harmony for yourself, you'll begin to know your how. Why are you doing that? Because it feels healthy, it feels synchronistic, it feels like I want to be in rhythm and flow with money. I'm just giving this as an example. Mm-hmm. Why do you want to have a highly supportive, loving relationship? Why do you want that? Because I feel my life is enriched, it's more collaborative. That informs my how. Why do I want to be a great parent? Because I want to help shape these human beings in order for them to go out and be self-sufficient contributors to this world. Then that influences my how. How do I raise my children? If we don't know our why, I think our hows become so hazy and daisy, and we can get lazy with our hows. And I feel like the sharper we know our whys, why are we doing this? Why is this important? Why is this my life vision? I think our hows become organic and natural to us. And I think when people try to tell someone, here's how to change your life, but they don't even know what lines up for their life vision, it doesn't have that same sticking power. And I think it's back to that show we did on being your own life coach. When you know why you're doing something, man, you know your hows.
Yeah, they tend to present themselves. It's kind of like natural order of things. I was working with someone on... It was kind of a team building exercise, and we were having this conference call, and I was saying, well, it's really important that everyone knows their why, and the guy on the other end that was setting this up says, "Oh, I know their why. It's blank," and he was like, "I'm like, wait a minute, you can't just blanket the why for this entire group of people, and that everybody has the same why, that it's financial independence. That's their why." And I'm like, well, no. Well, why do they want financial independence? Why, And he was like, no, we're just going to put that down. And so I knew that it was time for me to back off this project, and it just wasn't in alignment with who I was. But, this other people will think they know your why. They will force their own vision down your throat unless we are clear about what our own why is.
Yeah, I often say make a decision or life will make the decision for you. So it comes down to your powerful life vision. Make the decision to know your own powerful life vision so that someone's not doing it for you.
Mm-hmm. So you look at like the difference between a business owner and an employee. An employee is signing up for somebody else's vision. And unless that employee is like this job lines up with their own vision, then they are in a place where they're signing up for somebody else's vision.
Well, there's great leaders who have really done some highly innovative things that we've been able to witness. Steve Jobs was one of them, where he was so strong in his own powerful life vision that a lot of other people were able to find their visions to be supportive to his. Oprah's another great one too. All the people that worked for her show, the different producers that had worked for her show, they all found their purpose and their powerful life visions within her vision.
Yeah, and that's great. That is like a great, because that is so supportive. That is just like a beautiful place for them to support one another when people share the same vision. There's a difference if somebody is like, if you got somebody else's vision kind of forced down your throat.
Well,
It isn't your own vision. It's got to be your own vision that is shared by others.
Well, I don't think that Steve Jobs would have been able to create such innovative projects if he wasn't drawing from people that place where they shared the same vision, bringing that to the table. What was that one story, Jack, that you used to tell about when he was recruiting over a big CEO or something for Apple? And what did he say? There was like a conversation where he moved it. It was about the why.
Yeah. He changed it from, this guy. And then I may have the details wrong here, but I think he was the CEO of Coca-Cola or something.
Or Pepsi or something.
Yeah, some kind of
one of the big
soft drink
one of the
manufacturers. And, so he was sitting pretty. So when Bill Gates says, come over here and help us with this computer stuff, which was
I thought it was Steve Jobs.
I'm sorry, Steve Jobs. Yes, Steve Jobs. Yes. Okay, back to reality here. Okay, so he's like, well, you're a small time computer manufacturer for nerds.
This is before Apple took off, really.
Oh yeah, and so he's thinking, hey, thanks for the appointment. Great to meet you, but I don't think this is something for me. And Steve Jobs, he kind of looked down at his feet and took a second, and then he looked up and said, do you want to sell sugar water all your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world?
Ooh, see, I just got goosebumps. Now that's speaking
to a why.
Yeah.
And that's like, and that Steve Jobs, he didn't shove his vision down somebody else's throat.
He resonated. He brought people to resonate with the same vision he had.
Right. And you look at Martin Luther King. He shared, I have a dream.
Yeah.
He might as well say, I have a vision. That is.
And people who resonated with that, still to this day, I could just hear Martin Luther King and my whole body and cells resonate with the truth of his vision for the world, which is this love for brotherhood and sisterhood together.
And so many people lined up with that vision that wasn't just his vision. I mean, it was shared. He didn't have ownership of that vision, and other people are like, okay, we're going to get behind it. All right, that sounds cool. We'll get behind that. It was like, no, they owned the same vision. It was an ownership of it. And he just expressed the vision that he owned, and the people that resonated with that lined up to support him.
So in how to get into a powerful life vision and understanding this place within ourselves, it's like, what's the season you're in right now? Because there is this fluidity to life. And if you look at every day is a change of season in our own lives. Sometimes the sun's out, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's not. There's a changing season that's happening on like a daily level that we have to be open to. And then there's actually a bigger seasonal change, which is literally the season that we're in right now. Now, when I started out, following my life vision and, developing my pieces to be a radio show, developing my writing career aspirations, what happened is I didn't think that at that point I was in the season of love. But when it began to present itself, and I know there was this distinct decision that happened when I was with a friend and I was talking to her about what this sort of magical something that was happening between Jack and I. And she said to me, she had this very specific advice to me about getting open to this experience. And love was not something that I thought was the season I was in. What I thought is that I was going to be in this place to develop my powerful life vision as far as my purpose in my career ambitions, because I felt like that was something I could control more and influence more. And I didn't think I was in a season of love right now, because I was just, cleaning up that whole part of my life, several years of coming out of a long-term marriage and stuff.
Well, and I had just gotten out of a relationship that it was a very painful time, and there was, love was last on my list until I realized that by lowering the bar in any area of my life, I lower the bar in every area of my life. It affects everything. And that's a place of non-compromising vision. So when you have a vision, you have the whole vision of
the wholeness of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually growing into you saying this, Jack. You've been saying this for a while. I mean, I'm growing into truly an inner knowing of this understanding of what it really means that you have to raise the bar in every area of your life for your life to be whole. You can't say only in this area.
Yeah. So that's something I'm working on in my own life, and I want, we don't come on this show as that we are these gurus that, we're not some spiritual leaders. We are individuals on, our path, following our vision. And, we're human, and we continue to work on ourselves and to allow our vision to become our reality. And I know that, for me, if I lower the bar in any area of my life, it does affect every area of my life. So one of the things I'm working on right now is I'm working on fitness, because I know that my body really needs to be fit in order for me to really get in the wholeness of my vision. I can't allow some area to stay in the dark and others to shine really brightly. It just does not work that way.
So then it's looking at our lives and seeing what season does it feel like we're in right now that we're focusing in on, and then being open to making those conscious decisions. And for me, when the season of love presented itself, it was not something that I thought, oh yeah, let's just do this thing. And I had to actually make a conscious decision. And I do feel that way. Like, okay, Jack, you're saying this with fitness. I mean, this is more of a conscious decision that you're making right now. I felt like for me, when that season of love presented itself, I had to be willing to exercise new parts, that of myself and possibilities that did step into like a really conscious decision, because I feel like our default, our autopilot can actually keep us numbed out of expanding in these other areas that we need to rise up in a powerful life vision.
Yeah, our autopilot is a tool or is a hindrance depending on how we set it. I mean, it's going to go in the direction that we set it. And if you don't think that you have your autopilot set, then you're not really aware of where it's going. So the conscious decision is, okay, I am going to set my autopilot to empower me.
Okay, so then this comes to when I'm saying, like, when the season of love began to, instead of being tuned out thinking, I'm not even thinking love, I'm not thinking relationship, if I was tuned out to that, I would have missed the miraculous gift. I actually know this in myself. I had to actually become open in this really conscious way to even explore this. And then once I began to explore it, Jack, with you, like as we were, even though there was physical distance between us and something magical was happening, and I found myself expanding with this vision and it becoming bigger and it taking on its own energy and it lining up with what was in my heart. What I did was I wrote myself a letter to know that I was staying true to what was in my heart. And I was in Hawaii at the time, and I wrote this letter, and I said, "Dear Anne, the ideal next partner for you is going to feel like this, and I got into the whole description of what my next love relationship out of all that I learned, what it was going to feel like and be like. And there was some very specific details that I had put into it, because once I became open, then I almost didn't know what to do with all these feelings, because then I needed to bring it in and be really clear in my vision for it, because I did not want to be compromising again. I didn't want to be, because this happens to people that they get open, they go out there, and, it's so funny because Oprah will refer to this as he'll just show up wearing another pair of pants, a different pair of pants, the same energy patterns, whatever it is. And I didn't want that happening for my life. I wanted to be really clear in my vision of what I wanted that was in line with my true life vision in my heart. And there were some such specific things that I said in this letter. And one of them at the time, which I did not know, is I said that he does not drink, that is part of his past, and this person is a non-drinker. And I did not know this about you at the time. And it's so funny because I knew these feelings were emerging in me, and I said to my brother, I wrote this letter, which I put a lot of things in there, but I'm just saying that was an important detail to my heart for my powerful life vision of what I wanted my next love relationship to be. And yet I was so unwilling to compromise by it that I even said to my brother one time, right before I knew this about you, I said, this will be a deal breaker for me. And I just know it, because I for where my life has led to this point.
The drinking part.
Yeah, the drinking part. And then here you say to me, the next thing I find out is you say, yeah, I've been in recovery and sober, at that time was 12 years. But I do believe it all came from this really crystal clear, powerful life vision. The first step I had to do was be open to new possibilities, and the second step I had to do was get clear in what was that vision for me.
I wrote a letter as well, and I wrote this letter to myself, and then I ended up turning this letter into an audio that we have. In fact, you can go to empower11.com and get it for free. And I'm going to read something that developed from that letter here shortly. And I think that, writing a letter is a great way to clarify. It's a great way to get really clear with your vision.
So we have different seasons. Even in the season of how the cycle of the moon orbits around the world we live in, and that is the new moon and the full moon. We're getting ready to have a new moon that's coming up on March 11th.
Ooh.
And the great part about it is every month we have a new moon. And that is a time where we are naturally in synchronicity to bring about new visions for ourselves, what we want to become, what we want to bring forth in our life. It is a natural time that we can actually catapult ourselves in exponentially leverage our good intentions, our good visions. So I encourage everybody on the new moon, write yourself a letter about a powerful life vision that you would like to have become, and it will have a lot of energy impacted in it.
Yeah, and the more in sync, that you are with that, and less compromised. It's a truth of where you are, and you're not compromising anything, and it's not just like grand pie in the sky kind of thing. It's like a real, it's a real vision that you have. You write that down, and there's power in that. The clarification is powerful, and also just letting the universe work in your favor is very powerful as well. Understand that you have the power to expand into your vision. That if this vision is in the truth of who you are, and it just lines up, you have the power to get there. It is not outside of you. You hold it in you. And it's a natural state to open up. It's like the flower bud blossoming, opening up. And you have the power to do that.
So now I'd like to start bringing our in Power 11 meditational moment into today for your powerful life vision as you begin your week forward. Wherever you're at, I invite you in. Take a few deep breaths. Allow this energy to resonate into the deepest, truthfulest part of your heart and soul during this time and space. Your dreams matter. You matter. What you love matters. Everything about you is a gift to this world, and it matters.
Believe in yourself. You have everything you need. All the gifts and tools have been provided. Old, unhelpful patterns slip away and are being replaced by powerful new enlightenment. Let go of resistance and trust the process. All is being achieved with ease and flow. Magnificent forces are conspiring in your favor. Yes, the world is out to get you exactly where you desire to be. Your life is becoming more magnificent every day. Today, on this day, that is your day. You make your decision to take ownership of your life. For this is your day. Own it. For this is your week, the best week of your life. Own it. For this is your month, the best month of your life. Own it. For this is your year, the best year of your life. Own it. This is your decade, the best decade of your life. Own it. This is your life, and you own every moment of it. You know your purpose. It is to follow Source, the voice deep from within you knows, the voice that for whatever reason has been quiet until now speaks up and guides you. Stand tall and walk with pride on this journey you have chosen. Be proud of who you are and where you are going. Being humble does not mean denying your greatness. This is your time to rise up and unleash the power inside of you. No one can stop you, not even yourself. It is on. The floodgates are open, and nothing can prevent this mighty force Source has given you. Your creativity holds no bounds. Your ideas are becoming things that are real, that are tangible, and that are alive. You live an intentional life by design. No one has the power to get you off your game. You own it. Those who are not traveling with the spirit that supports you will slip away, and you will bear them no ill will. Source is sending the right people into your life at the right time, and it's happening. all who are around you benefit. This is your time. This is your time, and your time is now. Believe in yourself. You have everything you need. All the gifts and tools have been provided. Claim it. Own it. Live it now.
Thank you very much, Jack. That came from a heartfelt letter that you wrote to yourself during a time when you were creating a powerful life vision. And this audio now is available at empower11.com with a practical Empower Now 11-day guide.
Yeah, so we invite you to
get it,
get it, use it, implement it, share it, and be empowered by it. We are running out of time here, so I want to wish you all an empowered week, and we will see you next week, 11 a.m. Pacific time, here on Empower 11 Radio.